So I've already covered the best movies of the year. However, there are a few movies this year that did make me, how do I say this nicely, physically nauseous. Let's do this. These are the top 10 worst movies of 2011. At number 10, the Zack Snyder film, Sucker. This is the only movie on this list that I actually have some sympathy for. I didn't completely hate this movie, but it's really bad. The story in it, god-awful, confusing, and just plain weird. It's about a girl who gets convicted into a mental institution only to become a burlesque dancer, and that somehow turns into her quest to get 5 items, that turns into her fighting Nazi zombie. It's absolutely ludicrous. That being said, Zack Snyder's style did lead to some fun action scenes, and although the movie made no damn sense and is truly bad, it's not the worst. And so while some people really detest this movie, I'm letting Zack Snyder off with a warning, with a low spot on my list at number 10. At number 9, we have The Help. I'm going to be in trouble for this one. Now we're getting into the movies this year I find truly bad. The Help is a film that many people liked. However, I absolutely detested. This is a movie that is just riddled with stereotypes. Every single character, nobody's a real character in this film. Everybody is just a stereotype of a stereotype. There is nothing about this movie that rings true. It's all artificial, saccharinely sweet, sappy stuff that would have felt cheesy 20 years ago in a Hallmark card. However, somehow it became one of the most successful movies of the year. There's not a single good performance in this movie. And what really, really ticked me off about this movie, like I was kind of indifferent to it. Then there's a scene where they stop the movie just to make fried chicken. I mean, come on, people. What do you see in this film? This movie is a completely hollow shell of what could have been a very inspirational story. At number 8, the Ryan Reynolds superhero film, The Green Lantern. I think I speak for everybody when I say I was disappointed by this film immensely. Green Lantern is a character with endless potential. This could have without a doubt been DC's Iron Man. However, they made such a typical superhero movie that just managed to be terrible just because it was so blindingly okay. Nothing in this movie stood out as good or bad, and as such, with a character with such potential, it turned into a terrible film. Just because there was so much you could have done, and this movie did absolutely none of it. Mediocre acting, special effects, and story. Nothing about this movie is anything redeemable. Go back to Deadpool, Ryan. At number 7, the quote-unquote horror film, Insidious. This movie is about as scary as a ride on the Haunted Mansion. It's just bad. Everything about it is just trite. It's the same horror story we've seen 1,000 times. The little kid gets possessed and the parents get terrified and tried to help. Not only is it not original, but James Wan, who's the director of Saw's in-your-face, you're so scary! Direction just makes it so over the top that it's impossible to get scared by anything, because there's no subtlety at all. It's a shame, because I really like both actors, Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne, and they really deserved better. At number 6, Ruben Fleischer's 30 Minutes or Less. Now this really hurts, because nobody was a bigger fan of Zombieland than me, and nobody was looking forward to this movie more than me, because I absolutely love Ruben Fleischer, and I think that this could have been a good film. However, it really wasn't. It took a concept that could have made a great action comedy, Jesse Eisenberg being trapped in a bomb, and just made it a series of dick and fart jokes, and it was just really, really stupid. Not only that, but it was so short, it could barely even be considered a movie, and yet somehow felt longer than The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Barely anything inventive here, and a real step down for Ruben Fleischer. At number 5, Columbiana. Now, I think Zoe Saldana is a decent actress, but she really sucks the life out of this horrible action movie. Not only is she bad and entirely unconvincing in the role of a woman hell-bent on revenge, but the movie is just badly made. None of the action scenes are filmed in a way where you can even tell what the hell's going on, which makes me really worried because the director of this, Olivier Megaton, who previously did Transporter 3, is the guy who will be doing Taken 2. Which really brings my expectations for that film down a notch. But anyway, back to Columbiana. Everything about this movie, the storyline is the same tired action movie we've seen 100 times from Luc Besson, and nothing from this movie rings true. it's a completely boring experience, and for an action movie, that should be the last thing I should be saying. Oh, and one last thing. I'm really getting tired of the crying noise Zoe Saldana makes. And number 4, the Simon Pegg and Nick Frost comedy, Paul. Now, I'm a fan of the duo of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. I do think they're really funny. However, in this film, this is the same series of tired Area 51 jokes we've heard 1,000 times before. But that's not why I hated it. I hated this movie because it just had such disdain for anything but its own opinions. It just had this character of Paul, and I'm not somebody who gets offended easily, but just the way that this character Paul, the whole message of this movie is that this alien exists to brainwash people out of believing the silly ideas of religion. I just find that idea really insulting, and I'm not one to hate atheists, but just the message of this movie and everything this character stands for, I hated every facet of it. And like I said, not one to get offended, but I walked out of this movie pissed, and that's all I have to say. And just for the record, it wasn't the atheist thing I had a problem with. It was just, I would have a problem if this alien was converting people to Christianity or Judaism. It was just offensive. At number 3, the teen pop flop, I Am Number 4. This movie was a real disappointment. I'm a fan of DJ Caruso's 2 previous films, Disturbia and Eagle Eye, and I actually enjoyed the book this movie was based on quite a bit. However, the movie was just such a dumb, another teen, we have to make everything all angsty and dark and, woe to me. You know what I'm talking about. It tried to be another Twilight and ended up being worse than Twilight. Alex Pettyfer makes Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner look like George Clooney by comparison. This guy exudes zero personality, and after finding out that this guy is an egomaniac who is mean to everybody around him and thinks he's like the greatest actor in the world, I hate this guy even more, and the fact that he's even getting work makes me angry. When a movie makes you not care about the fact that a beagle has just morphed into a giant monster, it's doing something wrong. My worst 2 movies are 2 comedies that made me look fondly on Pink Panther 2. At number 2, The Dilemma. What a horrible stain to put on Ron Howard's legacy than this insipid attempt at a comedy. First off, I hate Kevin James. I think he's just one of the worst actors out there. He doesn't do anything else but play the fat, bumbling guy who never has any idea what's going on. And I hate to say it because I've enjoyed some of his previous films, I'm starting to not like Vince Vaughn either. And this film, wow, words cannot describe how bad the story in this movie is. Just the fact that characters don't talk to each other, and how they spend so much time just doing stupid things to each other. I hate that in films. It's just 2 hours of nothing important happening besides people just being idiots for no reason. And it felt torturous, and that's why Dilemma is number 2. The Dilemma is Citizen Kane compared to my worst movie of the year, Bridesmaids. Wow, where to begin here? This movie made me physically ill. It really, truly did. This is a 2.5 hour, pretty close to a comedy, that doesn't have one chuckle in the entire thing. The scenes go on forever without any laughs whatsoever. They just drag on and on and on without a single joke that's funny. All the characters are annoying. There's not a likable character here. It's disgusting, it's stupid, and it doesn't end. I can't stress that enough. It just refuses to end. This is my new low standard for comedies. Sure, Pink Panther 2 was bad, but it knew when to end and occasionally had a funny moment. This movie just sucks. I hate it. I can't stand it. And if I keep talking about it, I'm gonna punch my webcam. And I'm not even one to hate on shit flicks. In fact, I like a lot of them. But if you want to give me a 2.5 hour Saturday Night Live skit that isn't funny, you need to go somewhere else. And that was my list of the top 10 worst movies of 2011. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. I hope you have a very happy new year. And until next year, I'm Movie Kid Mike, making sure your time is worth your money.